cars.
We are killing for gasoline.
Getting close to the magical freakout.
Kill the world.
Kill the world! Kill the world!
My name is Max. My world is fire and blood.
Want to get through this?
Let's go!
What's your name?
Mad Max.
This is another case of, until I see it, I can't really judge. Because there's a lot of these films that they did in around the sort of early 90s, late 80s, that everybody sort of enjoyed at the time in a sort of joking way, and now if you watch them, they're shit. And Judge Dredd was a prime example of that. And I thought, oh fuck, they're dragging Judge Dredd out again.
Yeah.
And that film was incredible. I loved
Dredd.
that. Yeah.
Yeah.
I thought that was great. I mean, it was like a B movie, really.
Yeah, it was, but it was
sort of a just
never
watch it and love it.
That's Carl Urban, by the way.
Yeah.
Have you ever read a Judge Dredd comic?
No.
Because a lot of now I'm going to talk out of my arse here, as I want to do. But a lot of people say that the new Judge Dredd film was like really true to the comics and really gritty and stuff like that.
It was very had a grimy, dark feel.
Yeah, it was really.
I think it was an 18. It was very.
It was very dark, and
they're not trying to pander to anybody. They're not trying to get classifications to get more money. Here's a film.
And they compare it to the Stallone one and say, "Oh, that was fucking stupid," and it was so campy
took
and
his
stupid. Took his helmet off, which admittedly is sort of like spitting in the face of the comics. And I've never read too many of the comics, but my dad was always a huge fan of 2000 AD, which is the comics that Judge Dredd was a part of, like the anthology. And so he had like a huge collection of these comics. Yeah. And so I wasn't really allowed to read them, but I would just sit on the floor and read them. Yeah. And they were campy as shit. They were so campy, yeah. I've got like a collection now that I bought from Waterstones of like Judge Dredd comics from like the 80s before they were coloured. Yeah. Like black and white. And they're just so humorous and campy and not meant to be taken and satirical. They're satirising various things and they're just stupid and very British. Yeah. It's almost like if the writers of the Beano made a
film.
I mean, American people won't understand that reference and like won't know what I'm talking about.
It's a sort of child. It's a child's comic, isn't it?
Yeah, but I mean that doesn't tell you what it's like. That certain flavour of comedy, which you can only see in like the Beano, the Dandy, and a few other comics, and like Viz maybe.
Do they still exist?
They do, yeah. Unfortunately, but like there's some sort of flavour of comedy where
Yeah, I do know what you mean.
there's like a
It's that
hangover
kind
from the
of-
70s. Like they'll use a lot of words like daft all
Yeah.
the time. Like who uses daft, things like that. Like a lot of
Yeah.
there's a
It's
very
hard- it's
very
very hard to
particular
describe, though, isn't
campiness.
it?
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. It's like it's pretty ineffable. It's very difficult to.
But it's not.
Put words
it's
on.
not campiness that you get. No, you will get sick of it eventually, but you sort of. It's nice. It's refreshing.
Yeah, it's very. I mean, it's very very British. That's
It's
probably
just readable.
yeah,
Like it takes very little effort.
yeah.
Just go. Huh.
I think one of the things that makes it really British is that it doesn't take itself seriously in the slightest.
Yeah.
Like if you compare British culture to American culture,
Yeah.
Americans, and I don't want to offend anyone, and this is a generalisation, but Americans tend to be much more dramatic.
It's because I've got no history.
That's offensive.
Probably.
Whereas British people tend to be a lot more laid back about things. Like if you say to a British person, like let's say when Gordon Brown stepped down as Prime Minister.
I didn't expect a political reference there.
Yeah.
Didn't expect that to come from you.
I'm not a very political person.
Remember when Labour Party conference 2000?
But I'm saying that's such a big thing. If that happened in
Yeah.
America, like that did happen. Nixon fucked off, didn't he? Nixon stepped down,
after Watergate.
and that was like a huge thing. And I was like, "Oh my god, what's going to happen now?" But
Yeah.
when that happened in Britain,
Everyone just went, oh, okay.
everyone sort of made a joke about it and said something about his chin, and then
Yeah.
carried on with their day.
And
Like
then
no one really
Yeah.
cares about anything in Britain. I don't know why, but that very particular British
it's very much
sensibility
like that.
carries through into the. I don't know. It's you could write books on campiness,
Yeah.
and people have done. But campiness is a very peculiar thing.
And a lot of people don't understand it.
Yeah, yeah. You have to really. I think if something is campy, and you like it,
Yeah.
then it's likely that you'll really, really like it. Like I was talking about the Joel Schumacher Batman with
Yeah.
Val Kilmer and Jim Carrey. That was a very camp movie.
Well, what?
I loved it because of that campiness, and also because I was 4.
Traditional professional wrestling is exactly
Yeah,
that.
exactly.
You have
Yeah.
over-
And that's an American campiness,
Yeah.
which is in the first Judge Dredd film and the
But
Batman
I mean,
films.
yeah, you have that side of it. But even if you come back to it here, like the World of Sport days, you have your big daddies and your giant haystacks, and you have the whole. You play a over goodie and you play an over baddie, and then you just sort of bang together.
Yeah.
And it's that kind of camp. That's the more British campiness. That
It's not
became-
taking itself too seriously. I
Yeah.
think it respects the.
It knows what it is.
Yeah. It has a certain amount of respect for the inherent likeableness of a good versus evil
Yeah.
story, or of a very simple story.
It's just very simple storytelling.
Yeah. And that's pretty particular to wrestling, but
But it's especially that British style of. It was the biggest thing in England for a long, long time.
what was?
World of Sport Wrestling. Oh no, it stopped in '85, but
Right.
it was like the big thing Saturday, 3:00.
Yeah.
Was it 3:00?
What's a
2
more?
o'clock?
Think of a more contemporary, campy British thing, because I can't.
It's a
I'm
knockout.
drawing a blank. I didn't really watch it. It's a knockout.
We can't talk about it because Stuart Hall's a paedophile. Generation Game.
There you go. He's from Nuneaton. Larry Grayson, another Nuneaton star. Tick.
His name's on the side of our buses.
Yeah.
Oh, shut that door.
That's campy in the sort of gay sense.
Yeah, okay, but then
I mean, I mean, it is campy, but
then
that sort of
take away
campiness-
Larry Grayson as the host. Jim Davison did it.
Again,
after
this is you talking before either of us were born.
I watched Jim Davison as Generation Game host.
When was that?
90s through to about 2000.
Yeah, I think I did as well, actually. But I can't. I'm just saying I can't think of any recent.
Okay, like any of those games, though, like Price is Right or
Yeah.
that card game, Higher or Lower, Bruce Forsyth.
Price is Right has an English version, and I think it's based on an American TV
Bob
show,
Barker,
or the other way
American
around.
version, yeah.
But if you watch the American version, if there is any campiness, I don't detect it. Like
I've
it's
not seen the only American version I've seen is when Barney goes on it in How I Met Your Mother.
yeah, but I don't know. I'm trying to think of a campy.
very
I'm trying
difficult
to think
to
of a
describe.
modern campy thing
I can't give you one.
from Britain. Maybe we've lost our campiness.
It'll be out there somewhere.
I think maybe in retrospect some things will seem campy. Like 8 out of 10 Cats does a countdown is a very
Yeah.
is a game show like Price is Right.
You sort of it knows what it is, and it just sort of plays it very well.
Yeah, and that's going to mean nothing to a lot of people who've never heard of that, but
Yeah, but it's